XRP is making a silent move, and the numbers don't lie. What if I told you that while XRP's price looks weak right now, whales just quietly accumulated 1.53 billion XRP, not million, billion. And that same week, XRP ETFs pulled in more institutional money than Solana, Cardano, and Avalanche combined. Something is being set up, and most people have absolutely no idea. Stay until the end, because the last piece of news in this video might be the most important thing you hear about XRP this year. Let's start with where XRP actually stands right now. XRP has been trading in a range, bouncing between $1.10 and $1.28 through most of June 2026. Now, on the surface, that looks boring, maybe even concerning to some of you. But here's what the chart is actually telling us. Earlier this month, on June 2nd, XRP broke below 125 support. Volume surged to 205 million units in a single session. That is not normal selling. That is forced liquidation. That is weak hands being shaken out. And then something interesting happened. XRP bounced. It came back above 110, then above 120. Then on June 16th, it broke above 128 for the first time since late March. That is a pattern. Breakdown, shakeout, recovery, breakout. The RSI dropped to 27 during the lows. That is deeply oversold territory. Historically, RSI at 27 on XRP has preceded significant recoveries. The stochastic oscillator also hit oversold. Both indicators together are telling the same story. The selling pressure is exhausting itself.
Now, let's talk about what's happening underneath the price action, because this is where the real story is. According to on-chain data confirmed on June 17th, large holders, wallets holding more than 1 million XRP, now control 74.1% of the entire circulating supply. Let me put that in perspective. 3/4 of all XRP in existence is sitting in whale wallets, not on exchanges, not available for panic selling, locked in private custody. And over the past 6 months, these same whales added 1.53 billion XRP to their holdings. That is not speculation. That is verified on-chain data. And here's the detail that really matters. 91.4% of recent exchange outflows are coming from large holders, moving coins into private storage. When coins leave exchanges, that means they're not being sold. That means supply is tightening. Basic economics. Less supply plus same demand equals upward price pressure. The whales are not panicking. The whales are loading up.
Now, let's talk about the biggest regulatory development in U.S. crypto history, the Clarity Act. Here's where it stands right now, as of June 2026. The bill has already passed the House. It cleared the Senate Banking Committee on May 14th. On June 1st, it was formally placed on the Senate legislative calendar. The White House is officially targeting a signed law by July 4th, 2026. July 4th, Independence Day. That is weeks away from right now. What does the Clarity Act actually do for XRP? It gives XRP a clear legal classification as a digital commodity written into law, not just an agency opinion that can be reversed, actual law. This removes the final uncertainty that has been hanging over XRP for years. And here's the drama happening right now. Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse publicly called out JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon for what he called intentional misrepresentation of the Clarity Act. Garlinghouse said JP Morgan is fighting this bill because blockchain threatens their highly profitable payments business. Think about that for a second. The biggest traditional bank in America is fighting to stop XRP's regulatory clarity. Why would they fight this so hard if XRP wasn't a real threat to their business? Standard Chartered Bank has already projected if the Clarity Act passes, XRP could target $8 by end of 2026. $8. From current levels, that is a 5 to 6 times move.
Now here's the news that just broke on June 16th, 2026, and almost nobody is talking about it. Ripple invested in Flutterwave. If you don't know Flutterwave, this is Africa's largest payments company. They process payments across 34 African countries, and Ripple just embedded RLUSD, their stablecoin, and the XRP ledger directly into Flutterwave's payment rails. This means hundreds of millions of people across Africa, Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, South Africa, and more will now be processing cross-border payments on the XRP ledger. Africa sends and receives billions of dollars in remittances every year. Traditional fees on those remittances? 5 to 15%. XRP ledger fees? Fractions of a cent. Settlement in 3 to 5 seconds. This is not a test. This is not a pilot program. This is live infrastructure being embedded into one of the fastest growing payment markets on Earth. And while all of this is happening, XRP spot ETFs recorded $5.3 million in inflows on June 17th alone. That outpaced Solana. It outpaced every major altcoin ETF. XRP ETFs have now pulled in $1.43 billion in cumulative inflows since launching in November 2025. May 2026 set an all-time monthly record, $131 million in a single month. Even when Bitcoin ETFs saw outflows, XRP kept attracting fresh institutional capital. That is not a coincidence. That is institutional conviction.
And one more thing. On June 3rd, MasterCard added Ripple's RLUSD stablecoin to its 24/7 on-chain settlement network, alongside USDC and PYUSD. MasterCard, on-chain, real-time, live. The infrastructure is being built right in front of our eyes. Let me zoom out. 6 months ago, XRP was fighting regulatory uncertainty. Today, the SEC case is fully dismissed. Done. XRP is confirmed not a security. Spot ETFs are live with $1.4 billion in inflows. Whales hold 74% of supply. Flutterwave deal puts XRP into 34 African countries. MasterCard is settling on-chain with RLUSD. The Clarity Act is weeks away from becoming law. Every single catalyst is converging at the same time. Right now. The price has not reflected this yet. But markets always catch up to fundamentals. Always. So that's the full picture. Price oversold? Check. Whale accumulation at record levels? Check. ETFs pulling institutional money? Check. Flutterwave, 34 countries? Check. MasterCard, on-chain? Check. Clarity Act, weeks away? Check. Is this financial advice? No. Is this the strongest fundamental setup XRP has ever had? Absolutely yes. Like this video if it gave you value. Subscribe for weekly updates. And tell me in the comments, one word. Ready or waiting? See you in the next one.